Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday night. It is What the Show, and we are here to talk about, well, something that we saw trending on Twitter this past weekend, and has been popular in the movie trivia communities as of late, and that is Collision.
Collision.
We're going to be giving all the hot takes on Collision, everything that we need to know in front of and behind the scenes. And we're going to be talking about one of my favorite events.
A lot about Frank.
Yeah.
A lot about Frank.
Oh, yeah.
So,
things came head to head, and I was all there for it.
Yes.
Yeah, things may have collided.
It was the best use of the word collision in its media, I think.
There was a lot of corruption in this collision.
Yes, absolutely. And we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it in a bit. But I am one of our hosts. I am AJ Lancaster. I'm joined by a couple of other hosts with us tonight. We have the Deacons, Mike and Bethany, respectively. How are we doing tonight, Deacons?
Just, you know what? Fabulous. I'm ready to, many podcasts have discussed Collision, but I don't think anyone's going to have quite our take on it. So I'm excited to really, really delve into it.
Yeah. And we have another one of our hosts. We have Justin the Juice.
Oh, yeah.
How are you doing tonight, Justin?
I'm ready to rock. There may or may not be a fire going on in my apartment as we speak. But regardless, it ended in some only semi-burnt little pork steaks that I had for dinner tonight. So,
hey. I mean, you said semi. I think that anything that's cooked is semi-burnt if you put it on like a good enough timeline. And
True.
Yeah. But with that, we are going to bring in our guest tonight, because when we thought Collision, when we thought movie trivia and Collision, there were only two guests that I think that we could have brought on tonight, and it is the movie guys. We are bringing in Mr. Paul Preston. Paul, how are you doing tonight?
Greetings. Still, basking in the wake of multiple hours of high energy entertainment.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you were also just a fan and big enough service of this magnitude to come and join us tonight. And we also, we have your partner in crime, Mr. Paul Preston here.
That is
and
me.
Paul.
Still.
No, Mr. Adam Witt.
We have Paul Square tonight.
It's okay, Justin. Is it Justin?
It is. It's Justin. I'm Justin. Referred to me as Justin. For the
they are
rest
correct.
of
We are partners in crime.
Thank you, Cinefanatics. Was that where I am?
Just keep on referring to us as the Cinefanatics until they give us a copyright strike. That's how that works, right?
Really the goal here.
Anyway, good to be here on Call to Collision.
Good to be seen.
So Collision. Let's just get it off the bat. This movie fucking rules.
This movie's great.
Someone should specify here that we are going to be discussing the 2014 movie Collision this evening.
Yes.
So that will be what we are talking about.
As far as I could tell, was never theatrically released wide in the U.S.
Yes. That is
was
correct. It got a run in France,
Belgium, and Australia.
That
would be the I believe they call that the Besson belt.
That is correct.
This was produced in France and released in France and shot primarily in English.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought that was a bold
like a Luc
choice.
Besson film.
I have some stats on that, if I may.
Shot entirely in Morocco.
When Collision was opened at the French box office, the home of Besson, it tanked. Yep. Lincoln beat Collision at the box office
in France.
And in Belgium, it debuted behind Hitchcock and Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. I mean, even a Kevin Smith movie would have beaten this in the box office in his home country, just to tie everything together.
Well, did it make enough money to make over its budget of $180,000?
Is that how much they spent at the Radio Shack clearance sale?
To get the BlackBerry. Nothing
got it.
takes you back to 2014. Like
So,
Oh, the BlackBerry.
Yes, and a tablet-sized GPS,
yes.
thick tablet.
Like, the entire.
By the way, for anybody watching right now, I don't know if it's been said yet. There's a movie starring Frank Grillo called Collision, and we thought it would be fun to advertise this as a Collision recap because it is. But also, I think you see what we did here.
Well, speaking of that movie, Adam, let me throw the plot out for everybody to enjoy. Scott and Taylor Dolan are on their honeymoon in Morocco, but Taylor is plotting with Travis to kill her rich husband. Travis is a mysterious stranger at the hotel where they're staying in Morocco. He's supposed to, Travis is supposed to run them off the road, mix it up with Scott, and then in the middle of the desert and do away with it. But there's a huge accident involving both cars that were trying to run each other off the road and a couple of other cars, including a bus and another car or two with a whole bunch of people. And it's just this massive car wreck. Surviving are Omar, Audrey, a French woman with a sick baby, and Saleh, a repairman, as he comes to be known, a classic Besson character of sort of mysterious places. I think you said it well, Mike, that corruption runs deep in these relationships.
Yes.
This is a group of quirky mercs.
Truly.
If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And a couple of them spent time in a dungeon before this movie began. They're in the backstory. Yeah.
There are
And they
many
were good enough.
Yeah, many unusual suspects. You don't know who's doing what, who's up to what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is true. That is very true.
So
Much
who
of
are
the
the
film-
stars of the film?
You want to talk about the stars of the film? Well, of course, Rushdie Zem, right, as the repairman. I think we all want to talk about Rushdie Zem.
Okay, I really
would
liked
like
this
to.
movie. Though.
I think they all were pretty serviceable in this movie, but yes, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, well, he was the guy who eventually you find out
He's
is
no Taylor
on
Lautner,
a
is
track
what
for
you're
the
saying,
baby. And he was creepy and weird, and I loved him.
I also
yeah,
like that he wore a beanie and a leather jacket
Right. That was
in
quite a
the
look.
Moroccan
In the-
desert.
In the middle of the
entire
desert.
movie.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I'm like, here we have, certain characters wearing a nice light dress, maybe a little like beige long. Why is everyone always wearing like white and beige in the desert? I don't
That's
know.
a fair
I
question.
guess because it's hot.
Black
Why are
attracts-
burkas black? Yeah.
Leather
Yeah,
jacket,
black attracts heat.
Yeah.
beanie.
Yeah,
And all
beanie
burkas
with the
are
leather
black,
jacket
it's-
was a look.
It was a look. His motorbike had broken down. It was a 2-hour scene though, so.
Sorry, Paul, you were doing the plot. We got
Yeah,
distracted.
continue.
No, that was the plot. I mean, to say anything else would be to give
Yeah, well,
something away. But if
we'll
we're
get
breaking
this-
down, if we are breaking down the cast, I mean, next up we have Frank Grillo, who plays Scott Dolan, the lead guy, and you always hear these stories about how he was disappointed that he had to leave the MCU, and I looked further into that because I'm like, what kind of jerk would just be like, oh my god, they killed my character and that. But turns out, I guess he was contracted for 7 movies, and they said, boop, you're out in 2. So I guess he has the right to be disappointed. But he will be returning for the animated What If series
Yep.
Ooh.
on, as no doubt, Brock Rumlow, Crossbones, in that. And he also, I think, somewhere appeared in Endgame. So he had more of a life in the MCU than people thought. But I think he feels a little underappreciated, like Mike Kalinowski.
What if Crossbones stole Falcon's backpack?
Is that really the plot?
I
'Cause
know,
that
no,
sounds like
it's
so-
not. I 100% guarantee it's not.
I'd watch
To
it.
be
then-
determined.
Maybe I will watch it. We'll see.
Then we have Jamie
No,
Alexander, whose credits are
Jamie
Blind
Alexander.
Spot and this.
Sin City? She
Oh,
not Sin
sure.
City?
She's in Thor.
Well, Adam, you would be thrilled to
and
know
Lady
this.
Sif.
She was Lady Sif in Thor.
technically
Oh,
have
right.
two MCU actors in kind of lead roles, and this again, absolute box office smash.
Phenomenon.
Collision.
To me, though, you hear about Crossbones and Lady Sif, and you'd have to be in an Inner Geekdom #1 contender match between Amaru Moses and Saul to know who Lady Sif is.
Yes.
That is fair.
I'd be impressed if any of them knew who Taylor and what was her name?
Taylor Dolan or something.
But get this,
Taylor Dolan, yeah.
Jamie Alexander is also appearing in What If. So isn't that interesting?
Nice.
And she's
A
writing
reuniting
for
from Collision?
Wow.
Yeah,
First, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time since Collision.
it feels like, yeah, it just
2014
feels like Collision just happened, and already there's a reunion.
that featured such lines as "Impress me, Desert Man," which I think
Impress me,
might be
Desert Man.
the best line in this.
No,
movie.
no BlackBerry in bed is the best line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no,
Blackberry
I wrote one more line.
Yeah, isn't it?
Oh.
Where's she going? She's facing her. What was that one? She walked off into the desert.
Yeah,
Where's she
yeah,
going?
it's
She's
like-
facing her truth or something like that.
right. That was a
So-
good line.
Well, and I gotta tell you guys, when we invited you to do this stream with us, we had not watched this movie yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? Me too. And everybody.
Like my
And-
$5.99 rental fee from YouTube probably set off like an alert on the Hassan's
Oh,
phone.
you should buy Tubi.
To be.
I know. It's ads. But
Yeah. No, I agree.
uh,
Actually, I would. Yeah.
I started watching this movie and like the production company, their little graphic for the production company made me think, is this a Skinamax movie? And then I watched like the
Right
first
away.
5 minutes of this movie and I was
And
like,
you were like,
did I just
wrote
have
it
Paul
down.
Preston
You
and
wrote it
Adam
down, right?
Witt watch a Skinamax movie?
I believe you were referring to at exactly 3 minutes and 20 seconds. We already had our first sex scene.
Yes.
For essentially no reason, except for the fact that it did.
Well, they're on their honeymoon.
No BlackBerry
Yeah.
in bed and all that.
Speak for
all that.
speak for your own honeymoon.
I mean, they were on a. I guess we were establishing that they were on their honeymoon. But again, as someone
And then-
who went into this movie completely blind, I was like,
We
we're
did no
watching
research.
It. It's called Collision. I saw
Right.
no trailer.
And you
And
thought
in
the
my
collision was
mind-
pelvises.
Was genital.
Yeah, I did.
There was a distinct
I-
possibility.
I was expecting like this action movie just from like the poster.
Yeah,
And then it started like that, and I was like, interesting.
because the poster looks just like a Jason Statham, movie, just jumping with a gun or whatever. It's
Okay, Sean Wingbody in the chat. We've gotten at least one person to go watch this movie, and if that's what this happens from tonight's stream, I am so proud of us.
By the
We
way,
got lost
Oh,
to
yeah.
watch it, so.
by the way, Sean, you're gonna enjoy it. I thought this movie was great.
Fucking rules.
AJ, he's like, congratulations. We made people leave our show.
That's worth it, I think. to
That's
go
about
watch.
normal.
Again, everyone.
Went from
Tubi,
6 to 5.
watch it.
Boom.
Tubi has the best movies ever.
It does.
You find some real gems on that.
I mean, and you find like the best movie and the worst movie. Like you're like, oh, here's Paddington, and by the way, after this, it said, do you want to watch next? What did everyone else's say? Ask you to watch next? Did anybody remember?
Oh,
Oh, I remember. I make that go away so fast. I didn't
Oh, okay.
write it down.
Mine was
we had another movie I never heard of.
mine was Sharktopus.
I've seen that. I've watched that.
I've-
I've seen that multiple times.
I have
It's
not, and I
fantastic.
need to.
I've watched
Why haven't I
Sharktopus a
seen
bunch of times.
Sharktopus?
It was on Sci-Fi. It was a Sci-Fi original.
Yeah, I
predated
made up one
Sharknado.
for our old podcast for the movie guys, and I've always still want to make this movie. It was Death Skeeto versus Hippopota Dragon. Got to make that
Okay.
right.
So it's gonna be all
Tarantula.
practical.
Tarantula's mine,
Tarantula.
I could say
All
that.
practical effects, correct?
of course.
All practical. Well,
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
yeah.
Obviously.
Whatever will break Harrison Ford's leg.
But Adam and I were back and forthing. Here's what else was on Tubi. You got Lindsay Lohan and Just My Luck. You got All About the Benjamins with Ice Cube and Mike Epps. Just Getting Started with Morgan Freeman and Tommy Lee Jones in a witness protection geriatric love triangle. And Schmodown Throwdown with Adam Collins and Dan Merle. Those are your options for free with ads.
And that's the longest one on there, isn't it?
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
like,
With
like 3
commercial
hours.
breaks, 4 hours and 6 minutes. So yeah.
And no sex scenes.
So-
Captain Morgan
so-
commercials.
Yeah. Oh
I-
yeah. That's a Captain Morgan.
Looking at the poster, I thought this was a genius idea because I knew Frank Grillo did a lot of straight-to-video action movies, and I'm kind of curious about them because there are those stars that are minor stars in a major action movie that then go on to do 10 movies the next year that are all straight-to-video. Like Dolph Lundgren was a key one, like saw him in a couple big movies, and then he's just in 10 movies you never heard of, tank dramas in Afghanistan, and all this sort of stuff. So I thought
Kindergarten Cop 2.
which one
Kindergarten Cop Part 2.
is he really the
I'm
straight-to-video
not
version?
joking. That exists.
Oh Wow.
Wait, you made me watch some of that once.
Yes.
Yes. I have not the whole thing.
That
but
only
I've
came
seen
out
some
like
of
3
it.
years ago, by the way. That's recent. But
Oh,
it
wow.
does exist.
Oh, I love a 20-year wait for a sequel that's straight to video. That's like the best. You
With
know that's
Duff-
gonna
Oh,
be-
that's right. I know that because of Family Video. That's right. We had
You know
that.
what Adam today called straight to Tubi.
straight to Tubi.
Straight to Crackle.
It doesn't even go to Amazon Prime. Straight to Tubi.
Straight to Tubi.
Straight to Pluto TV.
But I was expecting a real crap action movie, and the problem with those straight to video action movies is they're trying to be $100 million budget, and they got none of that. So they're trying to do all that stuff, and I gotta say, I admire a movie like this that's like, no, we have basically it's Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat, the middle part of this, where it's a bunch of people are thrown together, they have to survive in the desert. There's about a 45-minute sequence or more, maybe an hour
All
of them in the
one
desert,
setting. Yeah.
Huh?
They're
Yeah.
all in the same setting. They don't have to move or anything. It's just all there. There's no budget for shooting that.
What a great budget
Yeah.
savings, in the middle of the desert. No, you don't have to get permission to shoot there, and but nobody knows who's on what side. Nobody knows anybody's backstory. And a worse movie like this would set all that up at the beginning. They'd be like, I kidnapped a baby. And then the guy that kidnapped the baby goes to do this and goes to do this. And then it plays out really lamely towards the end. But this one kept everything a secret, which I thought was just really good writing, actually. Yeah. But we wasn't the only one.
We
Well,
were having a conversation and watching it, and it was maybe like 10 minutes before it ended, and I go, who am I supposed to be rooting for in this thing? Because I really didn't know.
That's a feature, not a bug.
We had 10 minutes left, and I was like, I'll give the writers this. They didn't, we discussed this backstage a little bit. You're saying like they didn't spoon feed you, and I was like, that's true, because 10 minutes left. I was guessing who I was supposed to be rooting for.
Yeah, I thought for sure. I don't know, we're going to blow the ending here or what, but
we'll spoil.
Has anyone actually seen this movie?
Spoilers for Collision.
Yeah, Collision
Sorry,
spoilers.
Sean. Hopefully you're off on Tubi watching it right now. You won't hear the ending.
But well, let's back up a little bit before we get to the ending, because I did find that I'll tell you one thing that happens early on that was a good, why I thought this was a good example of how we didn't know who to trust in this, because well, first of all, this crash is spectacular. All right, so you got all this kind of intrigue, so and it's done pretty well. Like those two have sex, and then she immediately goes and starts making out with some other guy that she meets at the pool, and you're like, oh no, she's cheating on him, and then she like whispers in his ear like, we're gonna kill my husband tomorrow. I'm like, total Hitchcock. So they're out in the middle of the desert. Here comes this guy. He's trying to track them or whatever, and the perfect suspense to that is, they're supposed to be going directly to some sort of a tourist destination. They're gonna, something's gonna trap him along the way. And just in the middle of like that, Frank Grillo's like, oh no, let me take this route. He starts going. She's like, no, shouldn't you go that way? It's like, no, this is a cool way. Just take us a little out of the way. We'll get to see the desert. And you're like, and she's like, no, I think we should go that way. But meanwhile, the guy catches up. There's a chase, and this was when everybody was learning to drive, when you're being taught by your driving instructor or your dad, the one thing, or there were many things that I told you not to do, but one thing was, when you're cresting a hill, never speed up, because you don't know what's right below that hill. Like it could be someone, with a busted tire or whatever. So you don't know what's over that hill. So you always be. So this was like the ultimate driver's test nightmare. They're in a chase in this, but he goes over this hill, takes off big air, and then right below him is 3 other cars or 2 other cars, like one, and just crashes the hell into that. Here comes the other guy over the hill, crashes into that. There's even an amazing shot of that second guy. Frank Grillo should have been super killed, because I watched that tire go straight into his head. I was like, okay, did Frank Grillo just get killed and the rest of this movie is not with him? But no, he's like, got
a little cut in his forehead. Yeah.
So
cut
there's
That's
two
a little
things.
puts
There's
his
two
shoulder
things.
back into place on them.
he did a Riggs.
windshield break too. The windshield break where the guy goes through the windshield. That's like actually fairly gory.
Oh yeah,
Surprisingly.
he explodes with
Right
blood.
while that's happening, that Tubi decided to cut to commercial.
Oh no!
I was like,
Oh, mine did
we've
not
gotten
choose to do that.
Collision
There.
part of Collision, and no, it is. We're
Open.
cutting-
Hello Fresh.
we're cutting
Yeah.
to open door.
Oh my God, we're all going to die. Do you need to make dinner tonight?
Yeah. We all need to eat.
So
we all like food.
The crash was actually completely done practically, according to the Hoy text, which is the Collision IMDb page. And the other thing is, it kept up my favorite trope, my favorite little known trope in film. Is that they're in the Middle East and somehow they still managed to crash into a fruit truck.
Yeah,
They put on it.
Nothing else for miles. They
crates of chickens. Yeah, crates of chickens.
Yeah, we can joke about the blackberries and all that, but they were all excited because they stuck DSLRs in the cars to pull off that practical crash. And they were they were new. They were like, we could put a little tiny camera and shoot this all practically. So they did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! Did you learn that in the making of, like the behind the scenes
Wikipedia.
Yes. Wikipedia has an entry on this.
Yeah.
Lest
I
anybody
see that
think
you are
it's-
also a man of culture.
By the way, can we just admire the display of keytars in Justin's home?
Yeah.
I know he went to handle the place because it's on fire, but he doesn't have just one. There's a multitude.
If you want to respect a person, say you don't know who Justin is right now, and you don't already know you should respect him. You see 2 keytars and a framed Thunderbirds poster. Is that what I'm seeing right there? Yeah.
Is that Bill Paxton Thunderbird?
Yeah.
Wow.
He brought the guitar as his carry-on
He did.
to our wedding. So he was on the plane with the guitar.
That's commitment. Justin knows how to commit.
I can pull up the screen, see what else is going on in his place. And then it's second shelf down, and that's booze, right? And top shelf. So he's got booze.
Yeah.
There's a TIE fighter there. That's interesting. Yeah.
See a
Fascinating
Mordor?
guy.
Yeah.
Is that one of those trash can IMAX, the blue thing? I can't tell.
And the OJ poster.
And well,
Yep,
of
the juice is loose.
Right, yeah.
course, gotta have that. That's a classic.
But back to Collision, guys.
I guess, yeah. I
Guys,
did
back
find
to Collision.
maybe Juice's house more interesting, but go ahead, Ed.
The only thing the movie was missing.
So then, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, am I the only one? Again, doing absolutely no research before watching this movie and just
clearly,
looking
none
at
of
the
us, yeah.
generic action poster. Again, it's called Collision, so there was a good chance that it was going to be a car accident of some sort. And yet, as we're watching the movie, when we got to it, which I noted it was about 15
it's like the
minutes
movie
and
Crash.
30
You know
seconds
there's going to
in,
be one.
I was like, oh, it's like a literal, okay, like that car crash is the collision part of this movie. That is where it gets its name.
That is
So, yeah,
it. We have title.
Because I did not know that it was going to be like an actual car crash until it happened. I was like, oh, okay, yep. I see where they're going with this.
Because
now.
it just sounds like a badass action title. Collision.
Collision.
Maybe
Yeah, exactly.
maybe his name's John Collision. He's a cop.
We got to keep going with this, I think. John Collision. That's an action hero I want to watch.
John Collision.
John Collision.
Hey Justin, when are you going to hang your Thunderbirds poster?
No, it's right there. It's
That's just where
It is
keeping up
hung.
a nice
Adam.
little spot of
okay.
filling that wall. But that actually has Bill Paxton and Vanessa Hudgens' signature on it. Thank you for bringing that up. I was waiting
That's
to.
cool.
Well, we talked about
about that.
everything in your place while you were
Yeah.
gone.
Multiple keytars.
Yeah, booze,
There's
juice
another-
poster.
You have a third keytar that's not in frame?
Correct.
The
Get it in
classic
frame.
Yeah, why would it be off? Why would you have a
This
keytar off camera?
This was a gift.
Juice, can you play the climactic song "This Year's Love," please, from the film?
From the film-
Collision.
Oh my God.
I'd have to
Wow.
That's a big one.
look it up a little bit. Brand new. This is straight from Gucci.
I was like, I
Bobby
haven't.
Gucci
Wow.
sent this to my
before.
house.
Are you serious?
You might see it. You might see a little scene at some point.
Ooh.
Okay, but is this actually a bit?
That's an axe.
That's legit.
That's massive.
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look what cryptocurrency can do. You're all that.
Oh my God, that's a real boy, Justin. That's
Or
fantastic.
5-finger discounts.
Is that from all the like walkie talkies he's been helping Tyler Perry get? Is that how he managed
Right.
to get you that guitar?
You and I have been in Atlanta. Didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
that was a old school Atlanta reference for everyone.
Why is there a sticker on the back of it that says wish.com?
No, but I could probably learn. Let me do a little listening and all.
Yeah, give us a little
Okay.
This Year's Love.
So
Thank you.
is that the song that like when they're finally leaving the crash site? Spoilers
Yeah.
for Collision.
Sorry, yes.
That sounds exactly like the piano riff is the exact same as I guess why that
I guess that's why.
I guess that's why they call it the blues.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the
It starts
song.
It was.
playing.
Yeah, and it was.
I think
The piano riff's the same. We're like, what?
I think it's David Gray. Is that who sings this song?
Oh,
I'm gonna look up the
that's
sacred
right.
text. I'll let you.
I
know.
stand by this movie, but not its music choices.
Yeah, it was weird.
Well, I mean, there's so much to discuss. We haven't even talked about
Okay.
Mustafa Tuki yet, or Mansour
Yes,
Badri,
we
or
have not.
Hamza Kadri.
All right,
There's a lot to talk about.
so at this point, this movie
Oh,
turns
right,
to
it is.
Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat. So you got 5 strangers in the desert. You have no idea who's who. You have no idea who their allegiances are. You have no idea what led any of them there. And then they slowly unpack it through, pretty, do we trust this guy? Do we trust that guy? And it turns out that, what I wanted to go back to was the fun thing about this movie, I think, is you don't know who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, right? For example, when these cars crash, at first, there's a guy who's stuck inside the car. And the weirdo, I called him Weirdo the whole time. I don't remember his name. But the guy
Omar.
that's like,
No,
Omar.
no, sorry. It's yeah, I think it's.
Well, Omar was his name for most of the movie, but he had a fake name. You
Right.
don't learn about
Yeah.
that until he dies.
And so he's like the guy who's like, he walks up
Spoilery.
and like, he's doing all kinds of weird stuff and he's real creepy. And the car he lights a cigarette and throws it in the gas on the car that the guy's stuck in, sets the whole thing on fire. The guy's catches on fire. And then they're trying to put it out with all the water that they should be saving to drink.
Right.
And then he runs up with a pipe and just starts killing the guy. And you're like, oh my God. But it turns out the guy he was killing him because that guy was going to rat on him. Anyway, but it's just
Well, I mean, there were more than one reason. There's more than one reason there because Frank Grillo they're stranded in the desert, and Frank Grillo grabs the entire water supply in water bottles, individual bottles of Ice Mountain from Walmart, and starts dumping on the car that's bursting in flames.
It really wasn't a bright move there.
And I mean, it's both trying to make sure you don't get ratted out, but also I need to stop this maniac from killing all of us. It's so good.
But then
The
it turned.
history of this movie to me is why everyone wanted to get with Jamie Alexander. Yes, she's an attractive woman, but clearly she is an uber bitch, and every single man in this movie wanted to sleep with her. Every single man. And I was like,
Well, I can vouch as a male who saw what she looked like that I do understand where they're coming from.
why everyone.
She's
But
kind
yeah,
of
I like
extremely
it.
attractive.
Creepy
It's a really
guy with,
identifiable
let me give you some
character arc.
diamonds.
It's an
Everyone was trying to get with her.
Just to bring it back to the soundtrack real quick, it's a great score when Wikipedia has a link to the composer's SoundCloud with the entire soundtrack
Well,
on that
all
link.
John Williams soundtracks, it does automatically
Originated.
link you to
Yep.
SoundCloud.
They originated.
It's like we
I
gotta,
can't think of a single piece of score in this movie, though. I can't think of anywhere where there is score.
Apparently,
Oh,
there's
there was-
27 items.
Funny
in
you
the
should
score.
say that because there was never not score.
Oh, really?
It was just never impressive.
Oh,
it was
okay.
It was just a bunch of
Yeah, right.
of chant singing and
There wasn't generic
Oh, that's right. It's a lot of-
Morocco sounding songs. Oh yeah, there was towards
Arabic.
the end there. It gets very dramatic.
Yes, it does. I was going to say though, Paul, Never Not Score would be a fantastic podcast name. Just have random music
Never
playing
Not
the entire
Score.
time.
The entire time. Score the
Never-
full
Never
podcast.
Not Score.
From the 2014 Frank Grillo Collision.
But then there's diamonds. Diamonds show up, and you're like, all right, now we're into a real, now we got our MacGuffin here. There's some diamond stuff going on. You find out it's not the woman's baby that has the baby. And then there's the fixer that comes out of the desert. And
Literally.
then he starts taking care of business. And they try and fix the car. They get out, but throughout this whole thing, you realize they're all. It's almost like an episode of Survivor. They're all on different sides of an intrigue that we didn't realize, and that come to find that what happened there was those two cars were converged because and one of the guys that died was a cop, and the guy that went through the windshield was a cop, and they were there to catch somebody.
It was
the creepy guy.
Omar,
yeah,
creepy
it was
guy.
Omar.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why he killed the guy to begin with, and so I thought that was all unfolded quite nicely.
Yeah, and it does a lot of telling more than showing, not telling, I guess.
Yeah,
You don't have
does.
to do a bunch of exposition and you
There's
son of
some
a bitch, I'm in.
Kind of comes piece by piece, but it's not exposition.
By the way,
No, we
just
have to try and divine why people are acting the way they are, and then ultimately by the end of it, you go, oh well, that's why you kill a guy with a pipe who's on fire. That's why you try and kill that guy. Oh, that was a cop that was there to arrest him.
But
Well, let's talk about him. That's that actor is Musa Maskri.
Oh.
Local hire.
He has been in 70 films since 1991. No doubt Chance Ellison could probably name them all. I mean, he'd make it no fun at all, but he could probably do that. I'm going to keep tying it into the Schmodown as much as I can.
Good. If you only gave his first name as an answer in the Schmodown, if that would be correct.
Oh yeah.
If you just forgot his last name. No, but he's the only one who spells his name.
Tell me another
Benefit of the doubt.
He's the only one that spells Musa with 2 S's.
Yes. And if
Oh,
you
quick
Google it-
update here. Adam's been playing Collision in the background. What commercial is on now, Adam? Because it's gone to a commercial. What commercial did they decide they should show during Collision?
Experian.
Yes.
Not one for car insurance. God damn it.
Experian? Like the credit company?
Yeah,
Wow.
They're like, hey,
Experian.
you're watching this terrible movie. Would
but
you
here's the
like to
key:
show your
is
credit
what
score?
scene did they interrupt?
Yeah,
We're going
that's
back
the
to it
better
right
question.
now.
It's probably the actual Collision, I bet.
I'm telling you.
I
they
think we're
picked
past
weird
that. It's been
times.
on for a while.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes
So
it would come back from commercial, and I was like, "Did we miss something?"
Is it?
Right.
Is it when
that's when he goes.
Travis wakes up?
No, he hasn't woken up yet. It's when Grillo walks away to he's going to light tires on fire to alert
Gotcha.
people. So it's actually that was a decent place to go to break. Actually, I would say, he goes
So,
away, drags the tire away.
We've mentioned Luc Besson, but Dave Marconi, who directed this, do you guys know anything else that he's famous for directing?
I heard it was a 20-year break between directing movies, but I don't know what
Yeah.
the first one was.
The
previous
Harvest. The Harvest, in which it's very famous that George Clooney cameoed as a transvestite in 1993.
Do not know this.
Yes,
This is the
I
first
just
I've
learned
heard
something.
of that.
and that is today's fun movie facts. With
And that was-
That
KJ.
was a
Back-
fun movie.
Back then, though, he was a transvestite, right? He wasn't transitioning
No,
binary.
it was,
all the words.
it was an identifying male who likes to dress as a woman.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they had different words for it back then.
Right.
Yes, it is.
You could call him that then.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 That's probably what
Well-
it says in IMDb. Or did
Oh,
they go
don't
in and
worry,
change?
everyone. Whatever we're calling everyone today will be wrong in 10 years. I've been alive long enough to
It'll be
know
wrong in a month and a half.
that we will be embarrassed that we called them whatever we called whoever, whatever we called them this year.
But you forget a key part, AJ. You forget a key part. He is casted as the lip syncing transvestite.
Yes,
So
this is a thing.
Lip
So
syncing.
on that note, though, Adam,
and then his return was this movie that we are discussing this evening.
I do have to mention, Adam, that some old tweets from 2009 have resurfaced, and I just need to real quick just. So here's the thing.
Well, we started using the word transvestite because it was wrong to call them trannies, right? We were so woke that we started using that word. That's now wrong.
And now binary will get me out of hosting the Oscars in 5 years.
It's a lot of ones and zeros, man. So Collision.
And all 70 people who watch this stream will come back to this in
Yes.
10 years and be like, hey, did
Be
you
like,
watch that stream when they talked about Collision?
So let's get on to brass tacks. Does this movie fail the Bechdel test? I think it does.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
does it?
Well, they don't want to sleep with the French woman.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Two named females talking about is the baby a boy or a girl? So they're talking about the
boy,
baby.
the baby is a boy, but they also talk about her guy in Marseille. So,
yeah, so all they do is talk about men. So
Yeah.
Well, but you can't call
That
a
was the-
baby
that
a
was why I wrote
man.
that down.
A baby's a baby, I would say.
I did write that down because they finally those two women are off having a conversation, and it is about the guys. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
come on.
that is accurate. That would be
yeah, we were this close.
conversation they have.
But ultimately, they try and steal diamonds and stuff, which is, I think that's a plus in the Bechdel.
True.
Here's another fun
Uncut
fact.
gems.
Here's another fact about Jamie Alexander. She was the lead in Blind Spot, right, on television?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here were her injuries from that show.
Oh, okay. Do
A
tell.
ruptured C6 and C7 disc
Ooh.
from being waterboarded. Ruptured C6 and a herniated T3, T4, T8, and T9 discs. Broken nose, dislocated right shoulder, broken right index finger, broken left foot, broken left two toes 3 times, broken right foot, broken right 2 toes, dislocated jaw, and other injuries she was not allowed to disclose.
Okay.
Am I missing a great show? Or I've never seen it.
Worth it. That's
I watched the first episode, and now I feel bad that I dropped off.
all of that. She sustained all of those injuries for a show that I think lasted a season.
Is this also on Tubi?
Gotta be.
It was an NBC show, I believe.
Peacock. It's on Peacock.
I bet you it's on Peacock. You can watch it with maybe the 4th Harry Potter movie, which they have. But if you want to watch all of them, you gotta pay for it.
So
Also, it's the
the-
only place to catch Olympic archery. I just have to say, I literally subscribed for the Olympics this month to Peacock
There you
so
go.
that I could watch all the weirdo sports because that's my favorite thing.
There are some
You,
weird
you
ones.
know, in I guess it's less than 1 year that it's going to be that's where you got to go for curling. That's 100% where you're going to have to turn.
And I will be there.
for
I'm
curling next
totally
year.
down, totally down. It's the greatest
I'll be
invention
there.
ever. Being able to watch any Olympic event as opposed to whatever NBC would show me when I was a kid is like the best. Like I watched archery and pistol shooting for like hours.
I really want to know.
See, I don't watch it for the sports. I watch it for the stories. Just like you don't watch Collision twice for a bit. You do it because you enjoy the winding plot of this romantic thriller.
Okay,
Romantic thriller.
Is it a romantic thriller?
And then, so when everything gets wrapped up in the desert, so Omar gets shot there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Finally. I mean, he pushes his luck a lot.
By Sahil.
The fixer, smart man, he takes the, because he's like, as soon as we fall asleep, Omar and Jamie Alexander are going to take that car and leave us here. And he's like, not without this. And he's got a spark plug. And I was like, I love the fixer the whole time. I thought he was, I love that guy,
he's probably my favorite character.
Yeah, like you're always like thinking he could fix this situation. Everybody else was too wrapped up in their own thing to see the light of day. But like he was always, and in fact, I would say he's the hero of this movie because we're never really fully on Frank Grillo's side, even by the end of it. But we
Agreed.
But by the end, we figure out that the kid. I mean, spoiler for Collision, 2013's Collision. But that kid was his. And had been taken from his wife,
Right.
who was left for dead by one of the other guys that was killed in the desert. Omar or somebody else?
No, it wasn't Omar. It wasn't.
No,
So-
it's Ayub.
The lady, the guy who the lady was
Yeah,
with.
I don't think we ever saw that guy. He just
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
off camera.
Oh no, he shows up later when they go back to Morocco. He gets killed there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Cyril.
they
That's
give
right.
you Cyril. They give you some flashbacks and stuff in the desert in a movie that probably should be more full of flashbacks, but they hold it off as long as they can until you start to
we
fill
had
in
4
some info.
rooms.
For
quick
what?
fun
Yeah.
fact.
We had
if
4
I may-
rooms to shoot this in.
Yeah,
If I may, fun fact again.
yeah.
Uh,
I insist
fun
all my
fact.
facts be fun.
Cyril was played by a guy named Carlos Leal,
Okay.
and Carlos is a Swiss actor and rapper.
Oh,
Here's
shit.
a little Carlos Leal for you.
Oh please.
Is that the fixer?
That's
Yeah,
the bad guy who shows up,
Oh, the
gets
bad
shot.
guy,
and then-
right? He's the one that actually stole the kid, the fixer's kid,
Yes.
and leaves his wife for dead.
Could this be our copyright claim of the week?
If it is,
Is this
I think it might be a Carlos.
My
you
point
can
is-
strike us down.
copyright strike?
My point is, everybody's a rapper.
Is that if you're rapping in French? Is it rap? Because that just sounded like singing to me. But anyway,
Look, most of this movie was in French or Arabic, and it just sounded to me like a Star Wars match because I didn't understand any of it.
Points to Paul. He is bringing it back to the showdown over and over and over.
Hey, did you know Marie Josie Croze played Audrey, the girl with the baby, and she's Canadian, just like Brendan Meyer.
Hey, that is a fun fact.
That's a fun fact.
Hashtag fact.
She must be really polite.
Coy Jandro actually tweeted out that he had a great night at Collision. So, good for him.
That makes him an Adam.
Yeah.
Do you think does that make Coy the fixer of this collision? That's what I just want to know what character he was.
Jandro would be a character in this movie, though, because they all have.
Definitely. I was about to ask, who would he be? Which character would Coy play in this movie?
The French guy, Jandro.
Oh, no, he'd be the guy who takes a head to the windshield and dies because he's a stuntman.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Who else is going to do that stunt? Brendan? Bibiani? No.
Brendan's the guy at the hotel who's super helpful to Frank Grillo.
Oh,
Right?
That's Brendan.
guy.
The people at the hotel asked no questions.
All right, Paul, you've done it. You've brought us full circle. Yeah, they asked no questions. It's hilarious. It's like, hey, this woman I'm tracking that I can do whatever. She just left it. Can you get me a taxi and also the name of the guy in that taxi so I can meet up with them?
And
it's
his
like,
phone number?
There's no personal
It's like,
problem there. No personal
okay.
information.
Absolutely.
You know how my wife and I, we were fighting while she went into the room and now I need to track her down.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the tour group, please, that literally all walks by Jamie Alexander and sees that a bag, which I just love that he
Okay. Let's catch up there
Like,
first.
she's just
Oh, yeah.
Let's catch up there first, because that's an interesting point. So we get back to Morocco. The great thing is they've made it out of the desert. They get back to Morocco, but now we know everybody's angle. We know who wants the diamonds. We know who wants to kill who. We know who wants to get away. So then they just play out this pretty tight 15 minutes in the corridors of Morocco of suddenly there's a burqa'd assassin and suddenly the guy that kidnapped the kid's there and he's trying to take the kid away and that guy gets killed and boom, 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 boom. And then, Frank Grillo tracks down Jamie Alexander. And then, go ahead and explain what happens there before you get to the tour group.
I enjoy that she gets her wish because basically he tracks her down and he's all like, I just wanted you to support me and be there for me and, whatever, which blah, 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 Frank Grillo. And so then she's like, I'd rather die than spend another moment with you. And he's like, okay. So earlier in the movie, which I will say, this movie does some good foreshadowing. For instance, the fixer shows up. This is my random aside. I'm going to get to the bag. Mm-hmm. He shows up, and the very first thing he does is ask about the baby, which, of course, when we fill in his story, we're like, okay, that makes sense that his first concern when he shows up to this massive car accident is the baby. But same thing with this bag. So when they first show up, the very first scene in the movie is them showing up, this lavish honeymoon. Clearly, we're establishing that Frank Grillo's got some money. And they have this, all these suitcases, and there's this one bag basically, and it's a designer bag or whatever.
It's like Dolce & Gabbana, but it's like D&M or something.
Yeah,
it's some sort of fake
it's supposed
Dolce
to
& Gabbana.
some kind of designer bag.
Yeah.
And so he has.
So when you buy Dolce & Gabbana, H&M.
Yeah, H&M and Dolce & Gabbana combined to make D&M.
And so he just he has a knife in it, and literally this tour group I should say is walking by, and he just stabs her. And again, I get that it's in a bag, but then she's laying there. There's clearly blood
pouring out
of her,
and they're all like,
"You're injured." And they show the group looking at her, and so I thought someone was gonna be like, "Oh my god, no!"
Nobody reacts. Nobody reacts.
Oh. Also, a key point here is that Frank Grillo goes back to his room. She's taken whatever, because there's it's dropped at some point that he has a bunch of accounts in Cyprus. Yes. He's embezzled a bunch of money. She says, you're going to get yours because the SEC is going to catch up with you. So you realize, even he's he's not our hero. The only hero in this is the fixer. We realize that he's not a hero either. And that he married her just to find out if she was going to try and kill him in a weird way.
like a maniac.
Like a maniac.
Everybody in this movie is a fucking maniac.
But I think you guys will love this, and I think we can bring it back around to the topic here, which is he goes through his passports and he opens up one, and it's a guy in glasses. And the next scene, when you see the tour group, he's following them so that he can just hide. But he looks a lot like Andrew Guy. Like his passport is like, yeah, the Andrew Guy disguise. And then he pops up and he comes into a close frame and you go, ooh, he's in disguise, but he looks like Andrew Guy. I was like, oh, it's the Andrew Guy disguise. Yeah.
So that was his like posh, like it was just like a United Kingdom passport. So I was like, ooh, his like posh, like it's to slick back his hair and put on glasses. But yeah, he pretty much just looks like Andrew Guy.
And then never do a British accent.
Yeah, and then he doesn't.
Right.
And then I like that he takes off the glasses, like when he gets on the bus.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Disguise
good now,
over.
I'm on the bus. Disguise over. I can take off the glasses.
Yeah, and he throws her passport into a fruit cart. Like, oh well, that's crime. That's a good way to hide that. That'll never be discovered. What? Yeah,
Never be researched at all.
Well, I thought about why the fixer waited until the opportunity to take care of the girl with the baby,
Yeah.
till the end. And I realized it's because it led him to the guy who then he
Right.
finished off. But I never understood why any other character was doing what they were doing in the timeline that they were doing it.
Yeah.
Like, if Grillo, like Grillo's whole method, you just summed it up as like what is he doing? He wants her to do something, so he marries her. I just always
Yeah.
like.
And also,
very
why does he have
strange.
12 passports? Like, you
Yeah.
know, like.
Yeah.
His reasoning for going through with the wedding after he knew she was cheating was that he could get her 25 to life in Moroccan prison.
Yeah.
He's like, this would be this many years, but this would be this many years. And I was like,
And this movie so fails the Bechdel test that Jamie Alexander has to get a guy to come and kill. Why doesn't she just kill her husband? And they're gonna, especially when we're driving off the middle of nowhere. Perfect. I'll pop you. We'll leave you there.
Yeah.
We're done. But it's-
He hires the guy that she hires to kill him to fucking go along with it.
Yeah.
it's all bizarre.
Yeah.
Like that whole timeline, I'm like, what is everybody doing? Stop what you're doing. Make it easier on yourselves and give me a better movie. But but the fixer story was great.
But
Yeah, I
even
like
though a
the
lot of the
fixer.
logic falls apart, it's like I mean, again, it's like if you took it's like they say, if you took the Joker story, the plot from The Dark Knight, none of it adds up. Is that a bad movie? No, because Christopher Nolan convinced you that this all made sense and led you along and only fed you the right details to make it for maximum excitement. So even though it doesn't all add up in this one, I thought they did that pretty well. I wouldn't say Christopher Nolan directed this movie, but
I would. This makes way more sense.
yeah.
Yeah, this movie has virtually no laughs in it. It's like it was made for Laura Kelly.
God, Nerd Chronos catches this sometimes. That's gonna end up like with our names on screen during a promo. Oh, shit.
I don't play Star Wars. So
Well, now you're
There was
playing
nobody
Laura
I would
Kelly
rather
after
not
that.
laugh with than Laura Kelly, I'll tell you that.
Speaking of which this is a good transition. Just usually I don't do this midstream, but we're going to. Next week's guest on What the Show is Nerd Chronic. So
Thanks for watching.
What Frank Grillo movie are you going to have him watch?
Wow, that's a great.
So
Urge
we're
movie?
actually going to be reviewing the 2009 Nickelodeon musical Spectacular with Nerd Chronic.
I think we might wait till December.
that's going to be in
Yeah.
December.
Okay, it's going to be December? Okay. Way to show my hand early, but
Yeah, we gave away the bed.
we've done our research, and by that I mean we used Google and trust
There's
the
also
science.
many movies named Collision, so this could last. This bit could last for many years. Next
This
year,
I only
was-
found one other, but it ain't going to be as good as this one.
This was the fifth on IMDb. This was the fifth Collision that showed up in the search.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, probably the best. It's hard to say. I've only watched this one, so.
I think they should start naming Schmodown events Crank. I think that'd make this more fun.
Coming up next, Schmodown the Reader is coming up. Oh, well, we'll have to watch that and goof on that, pretending we're talking about the Reader.
Schmodown and the Captain of Tomorrow.
so the next Schmodown Crank Live event, they can't stop moving. So the whole time they have to
No, the whole
continue
time.
That would be.
Never stop asking questions.
I would do it.
The next Schmodown Crank event, Gucci is getting patted down at the door.
So more fun facts about the cast.
Yeah.
Charlie Booley played Travis, right? The guy hired to take out the guy, and he played Dimitri in the Twilight films, according to sources that aren't me.
So
one source I can confirm as someone who watched that movie. Yes.
Yeah,
I don't. Who's Dimitri in Twilight?
I don't know.
He's the
A
vampire.
very small role.
That's right.
Not,
Adam's right.
Not a big, not a big part.
You son of a bitch.
Vampire.
He's that one guy in the background.
And then Afif Ben Badra played Ayub, who was in Taken. And it makes me wonder, why aren't all these actors in Taken?
Yeah.
All of these actors deserve their own take.
Luc Besson, you think. Oh, well.
Go on.
Yeah.
And then we had Gabriella Wright as Odette, who I don't remember. But apparently in
Odette was
Wikipedia,
the actual mom of the baby.
That's the mother?
The mother.
Yeah, it's the mother, right?
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay.
Well, she
think so.
lists in her Wikipedia acting career highlights The Tudors, True Blood, The Transporter Refueled, and Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. She's still working, but left off Collision.
Okay.
I gotta say, as an independent cinema fan, I love when I see people getting maximum, something like the puffy chair or whatever. You're like, well, of course, the whole movie's shot in a van in a living room. I love that sort of thing. I thought in this one, when they settled down and it just became Lifeboat for an hour in the desert, I was like, this is a great way to save some money. I don't know. I kind of admired this production value in this. I was like, it's still made. This is a play. This is like basically a play. This whole thing could be put on stage. I was very excited. I like
Until the community theater tries to
can
crash.
confirm
into
that
a
you will be
bridge.
bringing this to Broadway. Is that?
There we
getting
go.
some
Right.
breaking news right now.
Movie Guys
We
production.
know-
Collision.
Oh, yeah.
Collision.
It's
Kelsey
time
Grammer's
for
Omar.
We're nominated.
Collision.
I will start working on the soundtrack immediately.
Please. Colliding
Speaking of which, how
with
is
you.
how is the this year's Love on the Key chart coming along, Juice? Are you feeling pretty confident in it?
So that was the name of the song. Okay, now
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming along.
What were
It's coming
you
along.
practicing? What were you looking?
I would like to know
at?
what we're looking at.
And apologies for earlier for I guess why they call that the blues, but
that one I was able to
Never
YouTube.
yeah.
Oh, but by the way, I did think, and I don't think there's a single digital effect in this entire movie. So people who don't like digital effects, here's a movie for you.
This, it's what they call cinema.
It's what they call cinema.
Art.
But I did like, this is what they call the blues. And the locations are gorgeous in this movie, the few that there are. And not the desert part, because that's really plain.
Thomas Hardmeyer. He comes off the best in this whole movie, as far as I'm concerned, as the DP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie looked great.
You brought us a good looking.
Made
film.
a lot out of a little.
Yeah.
I always got to give credit for that. Yeah.
How amazing is it that I've never been to Morocco, but everything is either brick red or robin's egg blue. And I was like, at the end there, it's like, this is why they call it the blues. And I'm like, oh, everything's like, there's blue ships and blue doors and and I was like, this actually works aesthetically. And
Yeah, because otherwise that movie is just brown.
yeah,
It's just brown. And so when it had to stand out, something had to stand out. It was a good call. Now, I'm going to take over the show for just a second and play a game called
Please.
Favorite Fake Luc Besson Movie. So a fake Luc Besson movie would be one that he did not
fluke
direct,
Besson movie.
but in fact a fluke. What's your favorite fluke?
Luke Desson.
It's he
Fake
produced
fluke.
but did
Fake
not
Luke.
direct, but he might as well have directed. But
Might as well have
so
directed.
you're I'm going to give you 5. Adam, I'm going to answer first, and everyone else give me your favorite.
I'm a huge fan of the fluke
There,
Besson
now there's
movies.
stuff like Ong Bak, but that doesn't feel like him.
No.
But he
I know which
produced
ones
it.
you're talking about. Straight fastballs. Yeah.
Okay,
We're allowed to
Transporter,
be looking this up right now, right?
Yeah.
the Transporter.
Uh-huh.
Let me keep going through.
Yeah, the
here.
question
Columbia-
is which one of these did Luc Besson direct? But he didn't direct any of them. But which one
Right.
does it feel like?
Transporter, Columbiana, Lockout, Taken, 3 Days to Kill. That was him, right?
I've
Yep.
seen that.
That's a fluke Besson.
Where is it? I don't see it on the list here, but I swear he produced it.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, I've got mine.
Didn't he? Or was that
think I-
completely
I
fake?
might
So fake
even
it wasn't
own
even
it.
him. Or I guess Lucy. I guess would be another one.
A fluke
Ooh.
Besson movie.
Oh, I don't think he. No, he directed that. Sorry, he did direct that.
I was
He did
gonna say,
direct
No,
it.
it looks like that's,
I thought that was him.
not a
Yeah.
fluke.
Transporter, Columbiana, 3 Days to Kill, Taken, or the last one I said,
I mean,
So it's only
which is
those choices?
or Lockout. Lockout.
yeah.
It's only those choices.
Yes. I mean, I could throw in "I Love You, Philip Morris," but that doesn't
No.
feel right.
Yeah,
Can we
that's-
can we
even
throw
though he
in?
produced-
Can we throw my choice From Paris with Love?
That is definitely has a fluke
That's a
vibe,
fluke.
but I don't see that on here either. I don't see 3 Days to Kill, which is shocking, man.
He
You could just
Produced
miss
it, did not direct.
The Kiss
what
of
I'm
the
saying.
Dragon is a pretty good fluke Besson movie.
Yeah.
I liked Banditas with Penelope Cruz and Salma Hayek.
That doesn't feel like a Luc Besson movie.
That's doesn't feel like it, but
It's Bandits,
was.
right? Banditas?
no, Banditas.
Oh, Banditas.
From Paris with Love, though, is it's truly the last time that John Travolta was great,
Oh, that's a good
You were
claim.
saying that he wasn't.
and that he was terrible.
I think that,
I think
well,
he
I mean,
was
you know,
good
Luc
in
Besson,
that.
you're talking performances like Gary Oldman in The Professional. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're good. The Professional, like that.
So this game fell apart
That's a movie I
really
need to
fucking
rewatch.
quick.
By the way, The Professional is a movie I need to rewatch like tomorrow. I watched that in a fucking.
Well, I think my the one that looks most like Luc Besson is probably Columbiana, but my favorite is Lockout. Lockout
Lockout's
is
the best.
awesome. If you've never
Space
seen
Jail. Space Jail.
it. Space Jail with Guy Pearce, just amazing.
Yeah. Now that doesn't that I don't know if that feels like Luc Besson. Well, I guess it does because he did the Sixth Sense or the Fifth Element as well. So yeah, I guess he does do space movies. But I think Transporter feels like a straight fastball, classic Luc Besson to me.
That was going to be my answer. Was the transport?
That's true.
Yeah, you got a guy who's the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Got a set of rules.
You got a
Yeah.
set of rules. Nobody should mess with him because he's the wrong guy to mess with. And then somebody messes with the wrong guy.
They should never do that. Why do they keep doing that?
They keep doing that.
keep
Mess
on
with the
messing
right
with the
guy.
I'm often compared to the Fifth Element because of my hair. A lot of Fifth Element references.
Oh yes, yes, you do have Lilu hair, right? Yeah, but that's
Or
good.
it's
You like
you know who
sci-fi.
you
You
look
got
like, and I'm like, go ahead.
Chris Tucker, I get it.
Please tell me.
you have framed
All the
you
time.
have framed porgs on your wall. I mean, you're gonna get a sci-fi reference, you know.
Yeah, that is true. They're like, this girl looks like she knows sci-fi, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you are correct.
You look like Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Like, you know what you look like, and I'm like ready for the Fifth Element reference, and they're like, actually, it's you, Gary Oldman. And be like, you know what, I can see that. You think that he can pull off any
Still
look,
Fifth
you know?
Element.
Boy, that Luc
is
Luc
true.
Besson gets a whole different Gary Oldman out of Gary Oldman, doesn't he?
Only Luc Besson, not
Another fun
not
fact:
Luke.
in other countries, including Australia, the film was released as Intersections,
Intersection. I saw that.
but
yes.
Of which there are none in the desert.
That's
So
lofty.
None
Yeah.
at all.
That's too
I-
lofty.
Seriously, that is a weird alternate title win. I don't get.
They
that.
even
It
had
makes
an
way more
accident.
sense.
They even only had an accident because there was one road and they were all on it.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
There's no intersection.
No intersection.
Off-roading in
That's
a
true.
sense. So
And it's
definitely
called
no
the desert.
intersection. It's called-
And I was looking, and it said a lot of people responded to Collision by calling out the abundance of product placement as shameless. But I'm not sure if they're talking about the film or the movie trivia matches.
Oh. So you're saying like the 13 bottles of Captain Morgan or the mentions of Blackberry?
There were 10.
What was more
Okay.
obvious?
The production design left
That's-
something to be desired.
That's truly the match that we need: Captain Morgan versus Captain Blackberry.
I think it would be riveting.
So
Wasn't there a
to
guy in, like, a Blackberry,
To sum up, for anybody tuning in late, Collision is not only the name of a Schmodown event, it is also a movie that stars Frank Grillo that we decided to talk about tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, and it.
This is, and I've looked, the only Collision film review on YouTube.
It might be.
You have to call this Collision 2013 Explained. I found that's the number one thing to call anything. Everyone's ripped off Alex Damon.
You put
Ending,
you put
beginning, and
explain-
middle explained.
put like Easter eggs or something in the title.
Right.
Circle
Things you didn't
something.
notice about 2013's Collision.
Everything wrong with Collision.
Everything wrong with
Assholes.
Collision 2013. Everything wrong with from a guy who's never made a movie.
Yes.
What they should have done is put Nicolas Cage in it. Well, maybe he was busy that day. What is this? What kind of criticism is this?
Okay, so I do have one person that I would recast in this movie if I could take a slightly larger budget,
Oh, what a
and that is Omar, and I would want Omar played by Luis Guzman.
Oh, jeez.
I could see that. I could see
It would
that.
take a very different turn with Luis Guzman.
Yeah, I don't know if he
No,
has
what?
the gravitas, does he?
I can't.
I think he does. Like
his
his,
part in this.
Jacopo and Count Monte Cristo. I think they could go into a darker place. Like we just dug a little deeper.
Well, let's say this movie stars Luis Guzman. Now let's recast the rest of it around that lead.
Like, they got Luis Guzman for Omar. Thank God.
All right, we got we got Omar.
All right,
Luis
then we got
Guzman.
as Scott. We got and we don't have Frank Grillo, too expensive. We get Emil Hirsch.
Emil Hirsch.
Ooh, I like that pick.
I could see that.
I'm gonna go Ben Bateman.
Oh, we need to recast the whole thing with Schmodown people is what we need to do.
There
So
we
forget
go.
Luis
Yeah.
Guzman.
Right.
We already
Forget Luis
have
Guzman.
Brandon Meyer as the concierge, the very
Brendan Meyer's the
hopeful
concierge that gives him
teacher,
everything he wants, including the GPS of the taxi
Yeah.
he's chasing.
which is
Yes,
Well, I
whatever
stick
you'd like.
with-
Yes.
I stick with Kalinowski for Scott then.
Okay.
Kalinowski for
Okay,
Scott.
I like
like
Explaining everything to everybody.
which-
Taking
which
90 minutes
can't-
to explain everything in the middle of the movie. No, so here's the deal. I did this because he's on. I'm way ahead of you. And da-da-da-da-da, you know, so that's,
Okay, you're right.
Would
Yeah.
so would Shannon be Jamie Alexander
It
then?
would have to be. Yeah, it would almost
Oh,
have
yeah,
to be.
yeah. I like that.
I think
like
she
that.
could pull that. Yeah. I think
Okay.
okay. I could see that.
Now they have more chemistry than certainly Frank Grillo and Jamie Alexander have.
Who's
They're
Travis?
almost believable.
They're almost
Travis.
believable as a couple, yeah.
So then, yeah, Travis would be who's the guy going at Kalinowski?
So Travis
Roca?
is the guy that tries to kill them in the desert, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Rick Radis.
Bateman.
Nah.
Radis.
It's either
I'd buy
either
Bateman.
Bateman. Yeah, you know that's the right Bateman role.
Yeah, Travis. The only
Is he be
casting for
going-
Travis is Bateman.
Yeah, he'd be going after Kalinowski. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then per Adam's call, halfway through the movie, without explanation, Kalinowski just becomes Andrew Guy. Yeah.
Right. He goes in disguise, and it's literally Andrew Guy as the
It's
disguise.
so convincing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but Guy has to learn how to do a British accent.
Wait,
Um,
who's playing the fixer?
But
That's,
That's a good one.
Okay, the fixer comes out of the
That's
desert,
Kaiser.
helps everybody.
Or-
Kaiser is the fixer.
No.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what you do. Let me tell you what. Listen here.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's not how you fix a tire. Look, I once had to fix a tire for my old man, and I once had to fix a tire for the Legion of Doom in Pennsylvania in 1972.
That's
What's
quite
your
a
name?
different Movie now.
Sahil or something.
who's the French lady?
The French lady with the baby?
Yeah, with the baby.
It's Video Drew.
Oh, please, Video Drew. Yeah, the entire time, like that character's there just doing Video Drew stuff. That would be so much more entertaining.
You can put Video Drew into any movie, and it's more. entertaining.
Except instead of a baby, she's got, like a baby Yoda or like a,
Like a voodoo
No, they got the
dog.
fake.
or her
They get the
dog.
fake-
Her dog.
They get
Yeah,
the
there
fake
you go.
baby from American Sniper.
No, it's her dog Tulpa. Yeah, she's just got the whole time. She just swaddled it, and because that woman's carrying that baby the entire time. It's just Video Drew and Tulpa.
Yeah, that's. I like that.
That basically happens most nights. Yeah.
And the woman whose baby it is, right, who gets beat up and taken from her, that's got to
Right.
be because we like her, right?
We do.
That
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so Janine, because we like Janine
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Right.
that is.
Okay.
No, we don't want to see
It takes
Janine get
takes
beat up.
Janine's dog, so
And
Tulpa is
again,
Janine's
you get
dog.
the- you get the happy ending in the end.
I want a Schmodown storyline now where Tulpa was Janine's dog.
Yeah,
Video Drew.
And Video
he's taken
Drew.
away by some
And then
evil person.
Kaiser Kaiser goes to save it.
Oh yeah, wait, hold on. Kaiser's not the fixer. Kaiser's the guy that takes the dog away from Janine to
They get shot.
and they get shot.
Ayub.
So now we got to recast the fixer because I think that's Kaiser.
Dang it.
Takes away the dog from Janine to give to Video Drew.
Yeah. And then
Saul?
I think Saul is the fixer. I can see that.
Or Gucci.
Oh,
Gucci. Gucci's
Okay.
the fixer because he's just coming in, just constantly telling stories about like, no, that's not how you do that. Yeah, I'll tell you what to do. No, you got to set a tire on fire is what you got to do.
I forget what happens in the movie when they
I was
say,
gonna
"Where'd you
rap.
come from?" I think he just says, "My bike." But instead it's a 20-minute monologue now.
Yeah.
But you see, the desert has a whole different way of life, and you need to
It's
adapt
the
to it.
life
If
of
you
the
can get
desert.
your
You gotta
mind into
adapt
the
to it.
yeah, it's 20 minutes.
No, I'll tell you what you do.
By
What do
the
you
end
gotta
of it,
do?
you've bought Dogecoin.
Wow.
Oh,
right.
man.
Well, I
Oh,
think
The other-
Have we exhausted Collision?
Yeah, now that we've done our
so.
fan
I
casting,
I think we have.
I think we wrapped it up. I think we did.
We've said too much.
Collision explains 10 things you missed in Collision. all the
Everything
Black
wrong
Friday,
with Collision?
everything wrong with Collision.
Everything.
And don't
right.
forget the tagline of the movie: "Their lives will never be the same,"
Oh God, is
which
that
also
really
goes
it?
for us.
Yeah,
That's pretty. That's wow.
Poignant.
So deep.
I
So
put this
deep.
up there with movies like Crash and Crash, where there's a crash in the title and one happens in the movie.
Yeah.
But this one didn't get an
Oh, yeah.
Oscar.
It is as Oscar worthy.
And it might be. Yeah, it might actually be.
It's more
as
rewatchable, I
Oscar-worthy.
think.
Sorry.
Might be
Crash.
more rewatchable.
All right. So with that, I think we.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah. So.
Are we still going?
Before Juice
So-
plays us out with some
Don't you-
songs that he learned
Don't you leave
tonight,
without plugs.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Of
you
course.
gotta get them plugs in. Get the plugs.
Plugs.
So,
I
Adam,
like this
Paul,
song.
where can people find you?
Justin, can you give me some keytar for some plugs? Hey, Paul, can we? I mean, why don't we have? They got Paul Schaefer here. I want to call out to Justin. Hey, Paul, can we get some plugs music?
Yeah, Dave. Here,
Yeah,
coming
Dave,
right
come on,
up.
Come on. Let's hear some plugs music.
We got the giant guitar.
Oh, giant keychains coming through the audio.
Plugs.
I don't even know how to turn this thing on.
Plugs.
Oh, okay, that's
It might not turn on if you got it from Dagnino.
Oh, yeah.
there we go. All right, plug
Have you
music.
tried turning it on and turning it back off? Turning it off and
Paul,
turning it
where
back on
can
again?
the lovely people of the internet find you when you're not recapping Collision so beautifully with fun facts?
We are the movie guys at themovieguys.net. You can find all our podcast appearances all over the crazy internet on there, as well as some other radio appearances and stuff, and movie reviews and interviews. We did a red carpet recently with a new documentary about Del Close, the legendary improv teacher. And if you don't know a lot about him, go see that movie on Apple
Oh, my
TV
God.
Plus, because he's fascinating. And and at the movie guys and every imaginable social media, except for ones that we don't give a shit about.
And if by chance you enjoy the actor Harrison Ford, am I pronouncing that right,
Yes.
Paul?
I believe.
If you enjoy the actor
Yes.
Harrison Ford, Paul and I, who met because we both loved Harrison Ford, we actually are doing a podcast somewhat infrequently, but get off our ass. We've recorded a bunch of them. They just have to be edited because we have a high level of production value. But we are covering every single Harrison Ford movie in a row. So we are
The
up to
Ford Fiesta.
the Ford
Search it,
Fiesta.
It'll come up.
It's so wonderful.
Next up is Heroes. If you don't know what Heroes is, it came out the same year as Star Wars and Smokey and the Bandit. It stars Harrison Ford and Sally Field, and there's a reason you haven't heard of it.
Now I want to.
Thanks, Paul.
Now I'm going to go listen to that.
We got one chord. Perfect.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
That was beautiful.
All right. Well, guys.
Juice, play
This would
us
be a good
out.
time for this show to awkwardly cut to a Chase Visa commercial.
I don't know what I still couldn't
Hi,
find the
do
song
you
I was supposed to
need a
play,
drink
so
in
I've
the
got nothing prepared. So
Do you like food?
do we have any requests?
Yeah, I would
I
like to
wanted
hear
this year's
You Belong
love.
to the City by Glenn Fry.
Oh, there you go.
Gosh, that one
Give
I
us
would
the
need
touch.
to practice. I don't.
Give us the touch.
He
Juice.
just
We
lobbed a
know that
softball,
one.
Justin.
I can't. I don't work under pressure.
Miami Vice theme song.
Oh, Under Pressure.
Anything from that era.
Under pressure.
Okay, anything from Miami
All right.
Vice.
Smuggler's
I
Blue.
can do Take on Me, and that's about it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, take
We're
on me.
gonna have to take on me then. Do it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Justin the Juice on guitar right now. We're getting ready to wrap up our Collision recap for the night. We had Mike and Bethany Curl. We had Adam Witt, Paul Preston. I'm AJ Lancaster. And this has been What the Show.
You ask a serious musician to play Take on Me? Oh, a serious musician? Is that what you are? Yes. Can I borrow your outfit? What for? I'm going to be playing a serious firefighter. Sorry. La La Land. There's
Oh, yeah.
one of my favorite movies.
Yep.
I know that.
Oh, that's amazing. All right.
And I ran.
There.
I don't know.
All right, everybody have a
Good night,
good
everybody.